Wrestling is life. Wrestling is life. Wrestling is life is wrestling.
Welcome, everyone, to Wrestling is Life is Wrestling with Cody Diener. I am Cody Diener, and I am a professional wrestler. I'm a professional wrestling producer with TNA Wrestling. I'm a professional motivational speaker, and I'm a professional dad. I'm a father of 4 awesome kids and a husband to 1 beautiful, amazing wife. And this is my podcast. This is a show where we explore how wrestling imitates life and life imitates wrestling, and all the lessons that we can learn in between. Before we get to today's episode, please visit our sponsors, Rest When Dead Clothing at restwhendead.ca and ceofit.ca for all your fitness and supplement needs. You can also support the show by taking a screenshot right now and tagging at Cody Diener on your socials. So let's get to it. Enjoy the show. Less is more. I want to talk today with my very special guest and my friend, legendary wrestling producer, David Sahadi, about the concept of less is more. Can we do that, Sahadi?
We absolutely can.
Oh, man.
Less is more, except when it comes to being good and kind and helping people.
But otherwise, I like it. No, that's good.
Yeah,
let's start there because
this
is wrestling is life is wrestling. And what I'm doing is I'm taking kind of these things that you hear about in wrestling as a professional wrestler all the time, kind of these lessons and that apply to wrestling. But how do they apply to life? Do they apply to life? Do they apply to wrestling producing, which is your forte? Kind of anything at all. But I heard when I started to be a professional wrestler from the old guys, the veterans, they're always saying, "Hey, Cody, less is more." And I remember being young and having hearing this and being like, I have no idea what the hell that means. And it wasn't until later on in my life that I started to realize, wait a minute, maybe they're right. Less is more. So is that true, Sahadi? Is that true in wrestling? Is it true in life? Is it true in producing?
It's true in wrestling. It's true in TV shows. It's true in a lot of things, Cody, including conversations with somebody who's an idiot. And I hate to say the word, but
just like
that's what my public profile is less and less these days.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So you say that it's true, but not when it comes to kindness. What do you mean by that?
You and I both have a kind heart, and I will never stop helping people in need, inspiring people.
Okay.
I've written 6 books since my dad passed, including his book. So 5 after that. I wrote 4, Cody. Once I was terminated by somebody you know who I was at TNA.
Yes.
And the books are all inspirational, and they run the gamut from fiction to nonfiction.
Yep.
So it's just, I like to inspire people through my writings. Through this show that I'm doing. It's called 24 Station Street. It's on my website, barwisdom.co. Through life, just going around and the smallest things, Cody. I go up to every checkout person and I say, how are you doing today? Are you having a good day? And little things like that, they look at you because nobody asked them that. They're always, arguing about something or complaining about something. And yes, I am. Thank you for asking. So kindness is free. Sprinkle that shit everywhere.
Yeah,
I mean, it can. The smallest thing can really make somebody's day.
Yeah. Well, that in itself, I think, plays into the whole less is more, right?
Yes.
Because it's not. I think sometimes we think that we have to make big actions in order to show kindness. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Where it's like, oh, I need to have a lot of social media influencers, and I have to influence a lot of people, or I got to do this big event to kind of raise a whole bunch of money for something or donate all this money to charity or whatever. But what you're saying is really plays into this idea in, hey, less is more in the sense that you don't have to do this big, crazy, kind gesture for someone. Sometimes just a, hey, how you doing in the checkout aisle is more meaningful than you could ever know.
Yes. Yeah. And Cody, less is more. There are, I'd say about 5 people in this town that I'm doing intensive spirit work with. Okay. They don't know what that word means, but it's just I'm helping them get through an addiction. I'm helping them get through low self-esteem. I'm helping them get through something. And at one point, I was trying to do that with 20 people. And when you do that, you spread too thin. So the impact I'm having, let's just say on a Cody Deaner who doesn't need it, but the impact I'm having on those 5 or 6 really important people is spread thin and watered down. So I'd rather do like a handful of people first, work on them, always be here for them when they need me. And it's better and more powerful than doing that for like the masses. The masses are good on a different kind of a broad level that we're doing right now with this podcast.
Yes,
But in real life, less is more.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
I never thought of that concept as playing into the less is more, in the sense that, hey, there's only so much capacity that we have as humans to care for someone, or we only have so much in our cup that we can then pour into somebody else. And you'd rather, let's pour into less cups so that we can fill them up more, rather than, like you said, spread ourselves too thin. I think that's so true. I've never thought of it that way, but I think that's a really good way of thinking about it in terms of helping other people.
Yeah. And Cody, there's one friend I spent about 2 years trying to help in so many ways. And he has not progressed one iota in 2 years. And that's when you got to realize, okay, well, let him go.
Okay.
Be on his own.
Yes.
Hopefully he'll come back. If not, you cannot keep on being dragged down by this. So it's not being dragged down, but you cannot be in a stall pattern with somebody. You know, work on somebody else who's more receptive to your ideas, more receptive to gaining your love and your trust. So yeah, it's less is more. I like this title.
Yeah, man.
We should do something called Less is More.
Yeah, man. Well, is this something that you consciously think of when you're producing professional wrestling? Like, if you're putting together a package or a promo, is there is there ever a time where it's like, oh man, like there's too many edits, or there's too much graphics, or there's, I don't know, too much of something, and you try to like bring it down to its base, bring it down to a certain focus? Do you know what I mean? Is there a less is more kind of mentality sometimes to producing?
To producing, yes. I would say when it comes like video edits, you can do a lot of quick video edits. You can do like, you know, slow down,
Yeah.
But one thing I learned about writing promotional copy for wrestling,
okay, good.
and I learned this 25 years ago, and I told it to everybody who works for me, is that when it comes to writing a promo, less is more. If you can take a 10-word line about Cody Deaner and condense it down to 5 words, it's more powerful than 10 words. And then you have the good sound bites after that. And it's just less is more when it comes to writing promotional copy, I think, is a great adage that I tell everybody.
Oh, I love it. That reminds me of one of the times when I was first really trying to break through in wrestling, and I was, wanted to get my character over, and a veteran said, well, what's your elevator pitch? And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, explain to me who Cody Deaner is, but you've got to explain it to me from getting into an elevator at the first floor, and by the time I get to the second floor, I got to know who Cody Deaner is.
Wow, I've never heard that, but
I'm like, oh, right. It's an elevator pitch. Like you get to sit, you're the promoter, the powerful guy that you're trying to pitch yourself to. You got to do it in an elevator, and you got to do it fast. So like you said, I can't go on this long soliloquy about what Cody Deaner is all about. I got to condense it. It can't be 10 words. It's got to be 5, or it can't be, 5 minutes. It's got to be 30 seconds because we got to get to this floor. So in that sense too, less is more, in that if you really not want to know who you are, whether that's in wrestling, but I also think that's a very good business strategy. Who are you as a business? What are you trying to accomplish? You got to be able to say that succinctly.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So I want to finish by plugging a new business, a new venture, so to speak, that you have going on with Bar Wisdom. You got a book, you got some merch. Let's put that over, and maybe we'll do a less is more kind of pitch in terms of, hey, tell people what it's all about, maybe why you did it, and where they can find your stuff.
It's really about helping the community, Cody.
Yeah.
And at the centerpiece of it is a 30-minute sitcom called 24 Station Street.
Yeah.
Within each sitcom, there's like an 8 to 10 minute podcast that's serious, but it's a lot of silly stuff. That's just one thing under Bar Wisdom. That's the main thing. We have a clothing line of apparel. Here is our logo. On shirts.
Man, I love it. Yeah.
We sell shirts. We sell hoodies. We sell caps. I have a book, Bar Wisdom, and I can send you these tight if you want later on.
That's sweet.
But yeah, there's behind the scenes thing there. It's a great umbrella, Cody. And here's an amazing thing. this began as an idea for a logo back at the end of October. My friend said, you should do a logo. And I'm like, why? And he goes, just brand yourself on everything you do. I'm like, well, bored, why not? And then we had the idea to make it a clothing line of apparel in December because we really like that logo. We think it's very, very cool. And then in January, we decided to do a podcast. And then I said, forget the podcast. Let's do something nobody's doing. Let's do a 30-minute wrestling sitcom. And Cody, it takes a lot of work.
It does.
I hired a professional, Robert Peake. You know him. He does backstage work for TNA. He shot this thing so well that everybody who's seen the show are like, wow, the production values in there are great. They really are. And I don't know, has anybody ever done a wrestling sitcom show before? I don't know.
I can't think of one.
This show is more entertaining, but that's also helping people in life, because if you can make people laugh, if you make people like, forget about their problems for a while, that's good too. But I spent the last 2 nights staying up to 4 a.m. editing the show. There's so much work involved in it, but it's very, it's a labor of love, Cody. I don't call it work. I love staying up there. And it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. Wow. Well, I'm not stopping. I'm going to keep on going.
Sweet.
We got banned last week, by the way, in all territories. Yeah. Or I should say blocked was the word they used by YouTube and WWE. Because dumbass me, well, yeah, you can show clips of things that you've done, but dumbass me decided to take an entire music video that was under the WWE/YouTube thing.
Got
so
it.
The minute my web guy hit, like public, the red flag came up. So nobody saw that. So I guess it's some kind of algorithm when you take something directly from.
Yeah. So you're learning then, right? There's
also,
a learning process to it, which is sweet.
Yeah. Here's something cool too. You can also, I'm not making money on this project yet. That's not what it's about, but hopefully we can monetize this on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. But I can just take my phone and record stuff.
Right.
And then the source is me. There's nothing that's going to get flagged unless somebody sees it. But again, I'm using the footage in a very positive way, not in a derogatory way to attack somebody. So I don't see why anybody would want to do that.
The way you just described how the creation of that sitcom just happened.
A logo.
That's less is more.
Yes.
Right? You didn't start with this huge, I'm going to do this and that and that. You started with this idea, this small idea, and all of a sudden it grew into more. Sometimes you got to start with less, so then that you can naturally and organically grow it, whether that's creatively or business-wise or whatever it may be, the growth. But it just needs to start with something, a seed, and that seed that gets planted, can grow into something so much more. Yeah,
Cody, one thing, my best friend, Jonathan Gordon, he just went out to walk his dog. If he comes back in, I'll let him say hello. But
please do.
He moved in here in January for 3 to 4 months because he's buying a house. And he needed a place to stay in between until the house is closed. And this show would not have come together and have been, so good and on the YouTube channel now, had it not been for Jonathan living here. Because we'll be hanging around 10 o'clock and saying, hey, we got a great idea for this. Let's go ahead and record it. We do a lot of stuff on social media. We put stuff on social media daily. Yeah. But it's just a fun venture. It really is, Cody. It's not work. It's fun.
And less is more.
Yes, more. Yes.
I love it.
Well, hold on. In the episode, before we go, less is not more, because in 3 minutes you see chaos on the streets. It's a really funny one, episode 2.
Okay.
People rioting, and this is actual footage that happened outside my place about a year ago. We're panicking in the house. We're running around trying to find a safe place. I'm into cutting scenes from Dr. Strangelove. Yeah. About how this is the biggest communist plot. He launches, a terrorist attack. I'm into cutting Eddie Vedder from Celebrity Deathmatch. I'm into cutting us. But it all came together so well, and I was having so much fun doing that. So that's one area where, it's entertainment. So I guess less is more doesn't account for this. But it's hysterical. Just mixing all those different things. Nobody would ever think that you can make a pot of soup out of that. Yeah. Somehow it did. It just came together.
So people that want to watch episode 2, they go to barwisdom.co. Is that correct?
Yes. So you can find it on YouTube as well. But YouTube, it's kind of harder because there's another show called 24 Station something. And that pops up a lot of times. But barwisdom.co, not .com.
We're going to blast your YouTube with people now because they're going to see this. And then that's going to be the first thing that pops up for people.
So when you get on that website, click on 24 Station Street, and that's where the episodes are. Sweet. Just like the Joe Rogan show, every episode has a description. There's only 2 so far. And, they live forever. So we're going to go down.
They do. Evergreen. Sweet.
Evergreen.
Thank you. Thanks,
You're
Sahadi.
welcome, Cody. Thank you as always.
That's going to do it for another episode of Wrestling is Life is Wrestling. Until next time, guys, please visit our sponsors, Rest When Dead Clothing at restwhendead.ca, as well as ceofit.ca for all your fitness and fitness supplement needs. Don't forget to take a screenshot of today's episode and tag me at Cody Diener. If you want to learn how to book me on your wrestling show or your speaking event, you can go to codydiener.com or learn about my speaking career at chrisgrayspeaks.com. Until next time, guys, don't forget that wrestling is life, is wrestling. We'll see you next time, guys.
Wrestling is life. Wrestling is life. Wrestling is life, is wrestling.